Hi there, let's look at day 2. So we're going to go to the content. And we're going to go to the numeracy unit. And day 2 consists of 2 activities, the order of operations and the percents, decimals, and fractions. Okay, so order of operations. So looking at this expression, 8 plus 4 times 3 divided by 2 equals question mark. So there's 3 operations in there. We've got addition, multiplication, and division. We have to be careful what order we do this in. Okay, if we were to just do this left to right, then we would get the answer 18. But if we follow the BEDMAS, we would get a completely different answer. And so we have to follow the BEDMAS formula. So brackets B, exponents E, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. Okay, so here it is here. It tells us that brackets are the highest priority, then exponents, then division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. So when we look at example 1, we made the mistake of adding before dividing. But according to BEDMAS, we have to do division first because it's a higher priority than addition. And so that was where we made an error. We can also divide and multiply in that expression. What do we do first? Multiply or divide. When it has the 2 of the same, multiply or divide, add or subtract, then from there we do left to right. Okay, so 8 plus 4 times 3 divided by 2, we're going to do the 4 times 3 first. So that's 12. So that's equal to 8 plus 12 divided by 2. So the next would be the division. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. So that becomes 8 plus 6. And so the answer here is 14, not 18. Okay, so you're going to check out the resource Math is Fun and read through the page. And then at the bottom of the page, there are 5 questions under your turn. So please complete those. In the resource, it's written as PEDMAS, not BEDMAS. The only difference between the P and the B is that parenthesis or brackets replaces the word brackets. Parenthesis or brackets replaces the word brackets. So some countries use PEDMAS and some countries use BEDMAS, but they mean the same thing. Okay, then you're going to watch the video on the order of operations through Khan Academy. It's another great resource to help you understand math concepts. And then you're going to watch a video that shows an example of the order of operations. Then for the assignment part, you're going to use this document to reflect on the order of operations lesson. Here it is here, so you're going to fill out the chart here, here, and here. Okay, and then as you finish and go on to the other days, then you're going to do the algebraic expressions, then you're going to do the lines and angles, and then the Pythagorean theorem. So you're going to refer to this 4 times throughout the numeracy lesson, or sorry, numeracy unit. So that's the first part of activity 2. Second part of activity 2 is looking at percents, decimals, and fractions. So a percent can be also represented as a decimal or a fraction. So when we are in real life situations involve working with a percentage or a number or a mix of representations, this is some good skills to have. So one store might have what's called a third off sale, and another might be advertising a decrease in price by 30%. So you'll see through this activity that 1/3 off and 30% are actually the same thing. Okay, so it helps you to be flexible in your thinking about these representations, and it enables you to choose the best representation for a given situation, and it helps you teach you how to translate between various representations. So if we zoom in on this, we see that 25% is the same as a quarter, and written as a decimal, that would be 0.25. Written as a percent, that would be 25%. 75 out of 100 would be equal to 3/4. Written as a decimal, that would be 0.75. Written as a percent, that would be 75. So you're going to watch the video on comparing fractions, and in your journal you're going to write down the methods that can be used to compare fractions. So that just might be a notebook or a little page beside you that you can refer to throughout the course. Then you're going to go to the Khan Academy and watch the video on converting percents to decimal and fractions. And again, write down some notes about how to translate between the percent, the decimal, and the fraction. And then you can use your notes to complete the activity. You can also watch the video below and then read the lesson for the video if you want some extra practice. Okay, for the action part of the lesson, you're going to go to the website Math is Fun. You're going to review how decimals, fractions, and percentages are different ways of showing the same value. You're going to go to the U-turn at the bottom of the page and complete at least 5 questions. And then if you need more help, you can go to these explanations for Math is Fun. Okay? If you don't need any help, you can go straight on down to number 2. And so just some questions here about real world. How are taxes calculated? How can you determine the percent of a coupon? What if you work in sales and are paid by commission? So if you work in sales, you're not necessarily paid by the hour, you're paid by a percentage of what you sell. So a lot of realtors are paid by commission. So they sometimes get 2.5% of the sale of a house, or they might get 5% of the sale of a house. Some real estate agents advertise for listing your house at 1%. So those are all different ways in which you can use the conversion of percents, decimals, and fractions in your everyday life. Okay, we've got some real world examples here of Ontario, because in Ontario we have a 13% harmonized sales tax. So we get taxed 13% on all of our goods. So if we were making a purchase of $135, we would need to convert the 13% to a decimal. So 13 out of 100 is equal to 0.13. So then we're going to multiply the 0.13 by the 135. Okay, so then we get 17.55. So that's what we would pay in tax. So we have to add the 135 and the 17.55 to get the total price of how much you're going to spend. Okay. Here's a chart of some other figures. If you're buying an item that is worth $200, you're going to pay $26 in tax for a total of $226. If you buy something worth $75, you're going to add $9.75, and that brings you to $84.75. So the higher the price of the item, the higher the tax amount that you pay, because it's 13%, right? What about if we needed to determine the savings on a percentage? So say we've listed something or something is listed in a store for $135, but it says that we can take $35 off the price. So we need to convert that into a decimal. So we divide the 35 by 135, which gets us to 0.26. So then we'd have to multiply that by 100 to get the percentage. And so that ends up being 26% off. That is equal to the $35. So you just saved 26%. So then you'd be charged the 13% on the newer sale price after the 26 savings. Okay, so you're going to complete the exit ticket lottery task. And so you're going to click on this here. Okay, so in a separate document, answer all 4 questions, show your work, and refer to the HST calculations on the activity page. If you have an IEP, you're going to click on the lottery task here. Sorry, getting ahead of myself here. And then you're also going to reflect on the website Math is Fun. Okay, so you can use the same reflection chart as the numeracy lesson, that blue, the blue column. So so the second column there is on percents, decimals, and fractions. So you can fill that out, and then at the end of the unit on numeracy, you're going to hand that in as well. And so that's day 2. Email if you have any questions.